Hello, future people. Welcome to Getting Tabled. I'm Jason the Bruce, and today, after going through all three figure sets and all three books, it's time to look at the stretch goals, because we're having a look at the Addendum. So, first things first, there are actually some miniatures in here as well as some other things. This is largely stretch goal content, so not all of the stuff that's in here is going to be available at retail. Some of it is, but not all of it is. I want to finish out the video. I've genuinely really enjoyed doing this first look series. I want to take a moment to thank all of the people that actually do support us on Patreon. For $2 a month, they get access to practically everything that we do early on through Patreon. In the case of the video edition of the podcast, they get that 4 days earlier than the rest of the world. In the case of videos like this, they get it at least 24 hours. There are a couple of exceptions to those rules. Those are always very, very rare. But we are grateful for everybody that supports us. If you enjoy what we do, please consider supporting us if you can. We don't make money off this. This is a hobby. Anything you can do to help pay those bills takes a lot of the pressure off and helps us avoid burnout. Thank you very much. Here we are. So, Household, Volume 1, Addendum. So this, again, very similar art style to the previous stuff. This, again, does look like a book, but it's more of a traditional box than the previous one was. There is something else that's rather important to look at with this, though. It's not actually the same size as the book one was. Not quite the same thickness either. That's not so much of an issue, but I would have preferred, personally, for these to be the same size. That's just me being picky, but just it would have looked nicer on the shelf if they were together. That probably would mean that things wouldn't have fit in this, perhaps, or that the books would have been swimming in here. It just would have been a preference. All right. And here we have the contents. So, there is actually more miniatures in here. We will be going through these last. We have some dice. These are custom dice we will be looking at. We have some cards. A nice little dice bag. This is a map of the house we will be looking at as well. Character cards, so that you can give them to your players. There's actually quite a decent number here. And another deck of cards. So, let's get in and let's have a look. And we're starting with the character sheet. So, things start off rather simply. Area for your picture. Signature, folk, profession, eyes, language, homeless. So this is all fairly straightforward. Prologue, a little bit of a description for your character. On the inside, chance for all of your stats, equipment. So it's a character sheet. It's what you really would be expecting. Let's be honest here. Really, really nice. This is still an A4 piece of paper, so this would photocopy up really nicely. On the back, we've got a place for our inventory, what's in our pockets, what's in our bags, what's at home, and notes and relationships. So there's lots of information that you can put on here. Like all character sheets, you do eventually run out of room for everything. But honestly, this seems to be laid out really, really nicely. Up next, we have our dice. We've got 10 dice here. And because they're unique dice, I can't Bruce them. Yay! All right. These are the 6 symbols that you get on your dice. So this is the household logo. Obviously, we've seen that quite a bit at this stage. We've got our heart logo, which is very clearly meant to be like a butterfly or its fairy wings or something along those lines. The diamond symbol is very clearly a clock on the wall. We've got our spades, which is a spider and the spider's web. We've got a picture of the house. And for our clubs, we get like a thing of, well, it's the scissors, basically. And what looks like a fire. Quick look at the bag. It's just a bag, honestly. It's nice. It's purple. Drawstring works. It's pretty much as you would expect. All right, so here we have our cards. It appears that they're all aces by the look of it. I'm guessing there is a reason for this, but oh no, not all of it's aces. We've got a couple of jokers here. It's not a full deck of cards, so we've got a few of these. They are very pretty. Very, very pretty. I like these. Ooh, that's probably my favorite piece. Household is like the Joker. Got another one. These are pretty. So these basically have become art pieces. These were a Kickstarter exclusive. So the other deck of cards is actually 3. We have a move deck, a contract deck, and a trait deck. I'm just going to show off a couple of the contracts here just to give you an idea of what's coming in this deck. There is more than this. We have Dear to the Hearth. The concession is Juggernaut. Once per session, Boggarts may go Juggernaut, doubling their size for 5 turns. When they do this, they lose 1 decorum level, but they gain +1 to all rolls in the warfield and ignore all conditions. Counterpart is Word of Honor. Boggarts are bound to honor all commitments they make by giving their word. Starchild. Concession. Wings. Fairies can fly thanks to their dragonfly-like wings. A flying fairy suffers -1 when trying to dodge projectiles or act stealthily. Counterpart is Names. Fairies are bound to honor all agreements they undersign. Out of the Drain. Water retention. Once per session, upon filling the crucial box, Undines can absorb all excess stress. When doing so, they sweat profusely and lose 1 level of decorum. Counterpart Coin. Sprites are bound to uphold all agreements for which they accept payment. Last 3 of the common ones here. We have Out of the Spark, which is Enlightenment. Once per session, salamanders can rely on their acumen to predict the outcome of an event and repeat an action roll. Counterpart is Coin. Sprites are bound to uphold all agreements for which they have accepted payment. Out to Draft. Bloating. Once per session, sylphs can hold their breath to gain help in rolls regarding stealth, subtlety, or balance. This lasts up to 5 consecutive turns. Counterpart, Coin. Sprites are bound to uphold all agreements for which they accept payment. And then finally, Revenant from the Far Beyond, Unbleeding. Once per session, the Slough can avoid suffering either stress or concession between hurt, poison, sick, or drunk. Counterparts, Debt. Slough are bound to honour all lost bets. So that's just the 3 most common ones that I found in the deck. There is more than this. I just picked the 6 most common that I found and just thought I'd give those to you as an example. Looking at the move deck now, just a couple of random examples of the Bodyguard Soldier move. So this first one, suffer 1 instance or stress and or condition instead of a friend. We've also got a defensive stance, require a 2-handed melee weapon. All your friends gain +1 to their reaction roll against an opponent. And then finally, we have Endure Pain. Remove a single condition. You cannot remove the broken condition this way. Next up, we have 3 that I've picked from random in the Scholar moves. We've got Attention to Detail. Either ask the narrator for a clue or suggestion, or find an opponent's weak spot. Do you know who I am? You can react against a littling by rolling Authority +1 instead of the requested skill. And then last but not least, Fast Learning. After a friend successfully passed a roll, you succeed on the same roll without rolling dice. Some randoms now from the hunter we've got fast reload, reload a ranged weapon or firearm, sharp eye, either find important clues thanks to your sharp eye or learn an opponent's weak spot. And then lastly, take cover. Either you or a friend hide quickly, or you or a friend automatically dodge some bullets, the attack, or the move of a large, huge, giant flying object. Criminal moves now. So we have expedient. Either you and a friend get out of danger or difficult situation, or you both leave a combat. I heard a rumor. Either you know a thorny piece of information learned from gossip, you or the narrator choose the information, or you spread a rumor. Jack of all trades, gain +1 to your next roll. Duelist next. We start with on guard. This requires a dueling weapon. You and a friend gain +1 to your next reaction roll against a littling opponent. Cunning tactics. Either find a weak spot of a littling opponent or avoid all effects of a move made by a littling opponent. And then bravado. Dodge bullets. Pull off a dangerous stunt. Avoid consequences of a fall or leave combat without rolling dice. We've got beetle moves next. A character can either avoid the hurt condition or avoid one instance of stress caused by an opponent. Flying charge. The first time you would attack an opponent, deal 1 additional stress. And then we have smash. Either after you hit an opponent, you can make a second action roll with -1, or you smash through a door or wall. Bumblebee moves next. React against an opponent by rolling grace +1 instead of the requested skill. Flying help. A character climbs a wall, keeps their balance or avoids the consequences of a fall without rolling dice. And cuteness overload. Either remove the embarrassed or scared condition from a character to cheer up someone. Gecko moves next. We've got gain +1 to your next roll. Steal or retrieve a small object. Either distract someone. Gecko moves next. We've got give a sticky hand, which is gain +1 to your next roll. We've got grab it, steal or retrieve a small object. And draw attention. Either distract someone or prevent a character from suffering an embarrassed condition. Mouse moves next. We've got sniff around. Either ask the narrator for a clue or suggestion, or find an opponent's weak spot. Growl. You can react against an opponent with will +1 instead of the requested skill. And lick the wounds. Remove the hurt or frightened condition from a character. And finally, we have snail moves. So the first one is remove shell. And finally, we have snail moves. Starting with snail move. Either you hide an object in the shell or you pull out food, improvised weapons, or ammunition, or other valuable resources. We have medicinal slime. Remove a single condition from a friend. You cannot remove the broken condition this way. And then slow and steady. After a friend has failed a roll, you automatically succeed without rolling dice. There is also a blank one. It's probably worth noting there was also a blank one in the contracts as well. It is also worth noting that because there were so many of these, I just picked 3 from each category. There is more to every category we read. So, now we have the traits deck. I'm just pulling out a couple at random. I'm not going to go through all of these. We've just pulled out these randomly. We have Acrobat, gain a free reroll when performing acrobatics or breaking a fall. I always land on my feet. Alert, gain a free reroll to avoid an ambush or a danger to locate enemies. Shh, listen, it's too quiet. I don't like it. And selfless, focus. Gain a free reroll to help you save those in need. If you fail, take 1 additional stress. It's cold out here. Take my jacket. Next up, we have big and strong. Gain +1 to lift, carry, or break something. I can crush a walnut with my thighs. Impressive, isn't it? Camouflage. Gain +1 when camouflaging in the wild. This is how insects hide from us, and this is how we hide from them. And gifted performer. Choose an art form, for example, painting, dance, or piano. Gain a free reroll when performing your chosen art form. Talent can't be taught, but it can be learned. There are more specific ones as well as the generic ones. I've just picked out some at random again. For the soldier trait, we have Master at Arms. Choose a melee weapon. Gain a free roll for all rolls that involve your chosen weapon and for all actions or reaction rolls in combat. For the Bumblebee Companion, we have gain a free reroll to hit ranged targets with your Bumblebee. If there is a sweet nearby, roll a die. With Heart, the Bumblebee ignores orders and eats it. Note, this equipment Bumblebee, thrown weapon, helpful to keep your balance or recover small items. And for the Gecko, we have Carnival Gecko. Thanks to your Gecko, you have a free reroll to dance or perform. So map-wise, there's actually 4 of these. They're all double-sided. These are just the maps that we saw in one of the books, but in poster form. So we've got Ailsa here. We have Valacia. We have Beddingham. We have Tubadam. We have Chesterfield. We have Walford. We have Astravia Highlight. And finally, Astravia Lowlight. All right, and we start with this glorious looking slough here. Once again, it's my camera, it's not the miniature. If I show you a side-on profile there, you can see there is much more detail in the face. The lighter colour of the miniatures don't capture on my particular phone very well. I do apologise for that. But the detail on this is phenomenal. Now, we have actually seen artwork for this at this point inside one of the books. So it does look like we will be having, by the end of what I'm showing you here, we will be having miniature forms of everything that was in the book. We have this glorious beast up next with his bolt mace. This is one of the pieces of artwork from the book that I really, really enjoyed. He's just a muscle-bound. He's just huge. Straight out of wrestling, straight out of bodybuilding, except obviously only 1 or 2 inches tall. We've got this glorious gentleman next. Bit of a duelist, obviously, with he's weaponized some clock hands by the look of that, because that's definitely, or it could be watch hands, I suppose. I would probably say beware of this. That's something that could very easily break. But he very clearly lives in the clock somewhere, or around the clock somewhere. Got this little adventurer next. Another one that we've got amongst the mushrooms. I wouldn't be eating these mushrooms, though, because they are very poisonous by the look of it. Very, very innocent and cute looking, this one. Again, there is a lot more detail in that face than it looks like there is on camera. I do apologise for that. Really nice, sharp detail, though. I really do like these. Once again, one of our favourites. Here's the cute little bumblebee with its animal handler. And it's glorious. I mean, come on, how could you not love this thing? Kind of running away in a panic away from something. With the giant key sitting up. That's something else it's actually connected to multiple things, so there's no real risk of that key breaking. Everything would have to break for that to break. Something of an intellectual here. One thing I like in particular, the wings are kind of down, almost looking like a jacket or a cape type thing. Again, something you see in animation quite a bit, but really cool. I'm not entirely sure how he's managed to balance his hat on his umbrella like that without the umbrella falling over, but we'll ignore physics for the moment because it does look cool. Here's the gentleman with his snail companion. Again, nice sharp detail. Boxes here are cool. Got a ladybug on top of the box by the look of it. Really, really cool. You could have a lot of fun painting that snail too, honestly. Unfortunately, this is where my heartbreak first comes, because I finally have a miniature that's arrived broken. These wings are extremely fragile on this one. I'm sorry, I don't know how they expected that to arrive. There's just no way that was ever going to stay intact. I will be able to super glue that back together and it should be fine. I'm just going to have to hope that I get the angle right so that it goes back into the box properly, I guess. That's very disappointing. Otherwise, detail-wise, really, really nice. The wings on this are really nicely detailed. It's just a disappointment that they've come broken. Gunslinger. Or a crossbow slinger, I probably should say. Really, really nice detail again. Really cool pigtail, very unique. Really cool, actually. I really like it. And then finally, we have somebody that's turned a key into a weapon again. This is one of my favourite things about this, is these guys that are turning everyday objects into weapons. It's really cool. Not 100% sure what he's standing around. It almost looks like flame. Or ash. Maybe it's coal, actually, come to think of it. I don't know, it's kind of hard to tell. But, yeah, really nice detail. Here we are at the end of my Kickstarter unboxing. I've really, really enjoyed this. I haven't played this yet, obviously, because I've been doing all of this as first impression type stuff. But I've really, really enjoyed this. I mean, the only thing I probably would change now, if I had have realised early on, is I probably would have unboxed those miniatures with the rest and then split the miniatures up into 2 videos, perhaps. But in all honesty, I'm really, really happy with what I've received. It's all come very, very nice. The only disappointment is that one of the miniatures were broken when I arrived. Given the amount of miniatures that I've been through in this, I'm actually kind of it's pretty good, honestly. Those wings were designed in a very brittle fashion, though. It's almost never going to have arrived without breaking. It will be very easy to fix. All I need to do is a little bit of super glue. It's not actually that big of a deal. If you've enjoyed the series, please do subscribe. We do a lot of miniature-based stuff here on this channel, whether it be tabletop games, whether it be the hobby, whether it be role-playing. We look at the stuff that we are passionate about. We have a podcast that comes out every fortnight. If you like what you're doing, if you'd like to support us, please consider doing that as well. If you want me to do more, I did say earlier, there's a couple of people that's asked, but I'd like it to be more than 2 or 3 people if I'm going to spend the time doing the review. Please let me know, whether it's by a comment or an email or something. I am happy to do it. I just want to put time into it if it's going to get attention, as opposed to doing it and nobody looking at it. So just let me know. I really would appreciate hearing from you. Thank you very much for watching. You've made it through to the end of another video. Your next mission is to hit subscribe and comment down below. If you'd like to reach out to the team, consider doing that, gettingtabled@gmail.com. Consider subscribing to our Patreon. For only $2 a month, you get early access to almost every single video that we do. Our most active social media is facebook.com/gettingtabled. It's where you'll find everything first. There's also a Discord. There's an invite on screen right now. If you type that in, it'll give you instant access. If you're on Twitter or Instagram, you can find us at gettingtabled. It's not the most active, but it's something we're trying to use more all the time. Come and check out Jason the Bruce at Twitch. He does both video game and hobby content. And of course, without question, play more games.